You can't just speak anytime you want.
I'm the chair of this committee.
That's not how it works.
Ms. Stansbury,
Madam.
you're not recognized.
Madam Chairwoman, that is not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
All day, but that's not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
Marjorie Taylor Greene today did a bang-up job of showing exactly why MAGA Republicans shouldn't be in charge of a simple gavel, let alone an entire government subcommittee. The chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency wasted the time of everyone but herself by harassing Democratic witnesses and butting in to silence Democratic members of the hearing titled, quote, "Locking in the Doge Cuts, Ending Waste, Fraud, and Abuse for Good." Ironically, Greene's wasteful, fraudulent, and abusive behavior led to an explosive series of clips that I've compiled to share with you here. Check it out.
Doge cuts have stalled life-saving clinical trials for our veterans with head and neck cancer, otherwise known as throat cancer. Can you tell me, are life-saving clinical trials for our veterans waste, or are they fraud, or are they abuse?
I think that's an area of government that is certainly vital, and that there's many things that can be done to improve VA services. I do not know all that DOGE has done for the VA, and I think that if there's anywhere where you could repurpose funds from these wastes that we're talking about, hundreds of billions of dollars misspent.
But if they cut the clinical trials that are helping our veterans with throat cancer, do you agree with those cuts?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Dickerson, leaked documents revealed that a VA hospital in rural Illinois was just forced to close its acute care unit to new patients due to the Doge cuts. Can you tell me, is closing the doors of a VA acute care unit waste, or is it fraud, or is it abuse?
I don't know all the details about that particular instance, but I think that...
Would you say it's a big problem if Doge cuts cause the closing of an acute care facility in a VA hospital?
Like I said, I think if funding that facility is a priority, we're running a $2 trillion annual deficit.
I think it is. I think it is a priority.
So we can repurpose funds to something if it's a priority.
So you think that if it's not a priority, that it's waste?
I think that's for Congress and the administration to work together to determine.
Exactly. It's for Congress to work on, and the administration should not be calling our acute care veterans facilities waste and closing the doors of an acute care facility without Congress. And frankly, it is a priority, I believe, of the American people to care for our veterans. Mr. Burton, Trump recently eliminated the VA Services Purchasing Program, which just last year helped more than 33,000 veterans make sure that they don't get behind on their mortgage and they don't get thrown out of their home. Can you tell me, is this program that Doge cut, is it waste, is it fraud, or is it abuse?
That's highly fact-dependent, and I'm not that familiar with that program. I will tell you one thing.
And I'll tell you, Mr. Burton,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it. It helped 33,000 of our veterans not lose their homes, and in my view, our veterans are not waste, fraud, or abuse, nor are they a piggy bank for billionaires' tax cuts like Elon Musk.
I doubt anyone.
This is my
that.
time, Mr. Burton.
Yep. Fine.
I am deeply concerned that President Trump will take reckless action to risk sending more American troops into endless wars in the Middle East. But back at home, he's breaking the sacred promise to our veterans to care for them when and if they come back. Donald Trump has already tried to fire thousands of people at the VA, and recent reporting shows that there are plans to try to fire 80,000 people at the VA. These reckless Doge cuts have thrown VA hospitals into chaos, and in my own district, I've gotten reports of veterans waiting months for basic services like a wheelchair. I represent San Antonio, Texas, Military City, USA, where we honor the service of our men and women in uniform. And if we want to honor our veterans, we honor it with more than just words. We take actions to care for them when they come home. We don't needlessly send people into harm's way, and we don't cut their services for when they come home. This hearing should not be holding hearings. This committee should not be holding hearings on locking in Doge cuts. We should be holding hearings about restoring services for our veterans. And while Doge is screwing over our veterans, the administration is also stealing from seniors. We just learned about a huge new scandal that every senior in America needs to hear about. After Trump and Musk made massive cuts to the staff at the Social Security Administration, they've scrubbed government websites of information about how long it takes to get your phone call answered. They have erased from the websites the delays that it takes to process benefit claims. They have wiped away what used to be publicly available about how long it takes to respond to a 1-800 call at the Social Security Administration. This is a cover-up. And why are they covering it up? Because wait times have exploded. A brave whistleblower just estimated that Trump's changes and Elon Musk's cuts have doubled the amount of time it takes to process a Social Security claim. Everybody needs to hear about it. Social Security is not Elon Musk's piggy bank. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. No one
Madam
loves
Chair.
veterans more than President Trump, and he's made that apparent. That's why he's working for peace
Madam Chair,
right
Madam-
now.
It's
Madam
not
Chair.
your time right now.
I'm the chair of this committee.
That's not how
I'm the chair-
parliamentary procedure works.
You're not
Madam
recognized, Ms.
Chairwoman.
Stanbury.
You're
not recognized.
either. You can't just speak anytime you want.
I'm the
That's
chair of
not
this
how
committee.
That's not how it
Ms.
works.
Stansbury,
Madam-
you're not recognized.
Madam Chairwoman, that is not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized.
all day, but that's not how
Ms. Stansbury, you're not
parliamentarians-
recognized.
We're going to get you a Robert's
Ms.
Rules of
Stansbury,
Order
you're
and
not-
the committee
point of
Ms.
order.
Stansbury,
so that
you're
you
not
can-
recognized.
so that
Point
you
of
can
order.
Understand parliamentary
Point-
procedure.
point of order.
Okay.
Point of order.
All right, Madam Chair, calm down. Let's move on.
Ms. Stansbury, you're not recognized. Point of order.
Madam Chair, I've got oh, I'm sorry, you had a point of order.
So,
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, can we decide who's going to speak first and we don't?
Absolutely. I'm the chair of this committee, and Mr.
I know
Gill,
that,
Mr.
but-
Gill from Texas
There
is
you go.
recognized for 5 minutes
There you
But
go.
Madam Chair, I had unanimous consent. I was trying to.
without objection.
Thank you so much. This is from Citizens for Responsible Reporting. Doge's big illusion, the heavy cost of Trump administration's so-called cuts. I have another one. Trump administration scrambles to rehire key federal workers after Doge firing. That's 4 hours ago. I have another one. How will we know if Doge is succeeding? I have another one. How the Trump administration's Doge cuts are harming women. I have another one. How Trump's Doge cuts package could put GOP in a bind. I have more, but I'll do them later. Thank you.
Without objection, so ordered. I now recognize Mr. Gill from Texas.
Now, it's no wonder that Marjorie was trying to silence Representative Stansbury there when you compare the questions that Marjorie asked the Democratic witness and then Stansbury's opening remarks that absolutely humiliated Greene.
Something else that the American people should know about these radical extremist judges that are playing politics from the bench. A judge ruled that this has to be protected. This is a HHS program for gender-affirming care in young people. Again, the only thing that affirms gender is the fact that there's only two sexes, male and female, and the American people should never have to pay for that lie. Ms. DeVito, in your testimony, you talk about so-called failures of Doge in your opinion. But do you support the federal government funding HHS and NIH studies that promote the genital mutilation of children? Do you support forcing Americans to pay for genital mutilation of children? Yes or no, Ms. DeVito?
Thank you for your question. I think we all agree that the government should work for people.
No, I asked you, do you support genital mutilation of children and the American people having to pay for it? That's a yes or no question.
I think government research is responsible for all sorts of innovations that we enjoy
So you do,
today.
so for the record, you do support the American people paying for top and bottom surgeries of children.
I think
Cutting off the breast of young girls, teenage girls, and castrating teenage boys. You support the American people paying for that.
I think government research is incredibly important.
That's
to
not
our
research,
overall
Ms.
innovation.
DeVito. That's mutilating kids' bodies before they're old enough to vote, before they're old enough to join the military, before they're old enough to even be adults. That's what you're saying the American people should pay for. Just so you know, Ms. DeVito, and I'm very proud to announce that I have a bill called Protect Children's Innocence Act that will criminalize sex changes on children, and that bill will see a vote on the House floor, and I look forward to my Republican colleagues and hopefully Democrats that come to their senses voting yes for that bill, because it's absolutely repulsive and disgusting, and America voted against that this past election. Sick.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Doge Subcommittee. Notwithstanding the abject failure of the Doge enterprise inside the federal government and the epic breakup of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, here we are again, once again, in this committee. But unfortunately, as my friends across the aisle in the GOP and their Heritage Foundation witnesses are still trying to make Doge happen yet again, the American people are over it. In fact, you don't have to take my word for it. A poll from just 2 weeks ago found that 67% of voters believe DOGE has done a bad job. That was just 2 weeks ago. And in fact, when I told one of my friends that we were having another DOGE subcommittee hearing, they asked, really, is that still happening? Because literally the American people are over it. Except for that it's not funny, because DOGE has been used to wage a chaotic, destructive, and ideological war against the American people and the vital programs that they depend on. This is not only not normal, it is dangerous, it is anti-American, and it is anti-democratic. And so we're not going to sit here today and pretend like what this administration is doing is normal. And we're not going to sit here and pretend like DOGE is just some normal government program. It is a scam in service of a political agenda. While we came to the table at the beginning of this whole process in good faith with real ideas, bipartisan ideas that folks have been working on for years, and a desire to actually fix and modernize the federal government, what we've seen from DOGE is the exact opposite. It has so failed in its stated mission of saving money that even the president asked if it was bullshit as Elon Musk was exiting the building. And if they want to talk about fiscal responsibility, while we're sitting here, they're still trying to pass a reconciliation bill across the aisle that would saddle taxpayers with $2.5 trillion in deficit spending. And in the last few weeks, reports have revealed that DOGE may actually have cost the federal government more than it actually saved because of the mass firings, dismantled agencies, stolen data, lawsuits, agencies in chaos, agencies that are not able to do their basic operational duties. This is not efficiency. This is a scam. And that's not even to mention the completely reckless and needless suffering that DOGE has caused. We're talking about millions of children and people across the planet who no longer will have access to food and medicine because of the very $9 billion rescission package that was just discussed. Thousands of veterans and public service servants here at home whose lives have been shattered, and millions of Americans who've been impacted by the gutting of vital programs, including staffing at Social Security. And now they're here today to try to make the case for making it permanent. Are you serious? Really? Are you serious? I can't even believe my ears. So why are they actually trying to make DOGE permanent? Well, I think you have to look no further than the witnesses that they've called over the last several hearings, including today. We've got the Heritage Foundation and other authors and architects of Project 2025. And so we have to be real about what this is actually about. It's not about efficiency. It's about a political agenda, an ideological agenda, about remaking the U.S. government, about remaking our economy and our society in line with a hyper-conservative worldview that is so unpopular that even Donald Trump tried to distance himself from Project 2025 during the campaign. And now he's hired over 70 officials to try to enact it. And now they're trying to use this committee to make the case. Now, they like to try to claim that they're taking on cancel culture and a woke agenda. But let's be clear, DOGE and the folks who want to make it permanent are the actual cancel culture, because they want to cancel anything that they don't like or they don't agree with, including your democratic rights and your freedoms, economic opportunity and education, LGBTQ plus rights, rolling back the clock on civil rights, canceling the history of Black, Chicano, and Indigenous communities, and stripping protections from our families and the healthcare, housing, and food people depend on, so that they can give more tax breaks to their friends. But this is all part of a wider agenda that is now seeking to apply political purity tests to government programs and services, including both federal employment and, yes, veteran services. Let me repeat that again. Even veterans benefits. They want to apply political purity tests to your VA benefits. Folks, this is not about efficiency. This is about eroding and privatizing our institutions, gutting programs that keep our people and our country safe. It's about rewriting history and remaking society to take us back decades, if not centuries. In short, it's about making this country less free, less democratic, less prosperous, and frankly, consolidating power under Trump and his allies who are becoming increasingly dangerous, ideological, and yes, autocratic.
Thank you all for watching, and thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it, and we know you appreciate these longer videos with full clips and less commentary. But what I will say is, if you made it this far, I think the best way to fight against this MAGA culture war and absolute waste, fraud, and abuse that they are perpetuating in our government might be to engage in a little disruptive civil disobedience ourselves. You might have seen it before. I flashed it up on the screen, and I'll leave it again here. But this is how you can contact Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I would implore all of us to contact more of our representatives, not just to waste their time like we hopefully will do with Marjorie here, but in order to make our voices heard and take back the power that the Trump administration has so wrongfully ripped from us. And if that's something that you support and speaking out against all of these injustices is as well, then join our resistance here at Really American by hitting that like button, subscribing, and dropping us a comment so this video gets out to more people. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse. I'll see you all in the next one.